Des actually was like, you gotta ask him about family because he knows a lot about family. He's like, he's the only comedian that really has a good family.
It's breaking bread.
Now we're rolling.
Thank you
We
so
do
much
exactly.
for doing this.
No, thank you so much for having me.
I have gigglers all around my world.
They infiltrated your life. What's going on?
Yeah, they're huge fans. They just love you to death.
Oh my
and,
God.
they're very excited that we finally got to sit down.
That makes me so happy. Also, I'm so honored to go on. I'm a fan of yours. And we got to meet for a second during the golf charity event.
Yeah.
And I was like, now me and Tom are besties.
That's how I felt. I immediately was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be friends. It was like 2 seconds on a putting green.
I felt safe in
Yeah.
your vicinity. I was
like-
scared, and then I saw you guys podcasting, and I'm like, they seem nice.
Yeah, they're not just mean golf people. You did a good job with interviews at that golf thing.
Oh my God, thank
You
you.
got to talk to Kat, which was very cool.
Well, it was crazy because I showed up to this event and they were like, we don't know if you'll get any interviews.
Right.
They're like, just stand there, look pleasant, and we'll see if anyone will stop by.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like fucking around with Rory Scovel, who I love.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Cat Williams is ready to talk. And I was like, what? And we had to kick out Rory, which was my nightmare. I was like, Rory, I love you. I'm so sorry. And then Cat Williams was like, what's going on over here? I could do 10% Cat Williams. What are we talking about? So that was amazing. And I was like, after that interview, I was like, game over. I'm retiring.
Yeah.
And then Will Ferrell came in. And then I was like, okay, now I'm retiring. I'm just trying to retire.
It was great.
Thank you.
I know. It would be nice to retire, wouldn't it? All right. So if we were in LA where you're headed tomorrow and I'm
Yeah.
headed tomorrow,
Yeah.
so it's just we could
We
put
could've
this at JFK.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get from Vesuvio Bakery. You can leave this for your husband, I guess, or you can
Beautiful.
eat it in the car ride home.
We'll see.
I would have baked you bread, but now that we're in New York, you get that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm half Italian, so it is my love language.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
You know that?
Yes.
Maybe that's why we like each other. And then I didn't know which flavor you'd like, but I figured you probably would like a Fanta today because it's 100 degrees here.
The only thing that quenches my thirst is a wanna Fanta. Don't you wanna? Are they still doing those ads, or were they like canceled? the Fanta ads.
Yeah, I think they probably have been.
They were like,
They
nope.
didn't stand the test of time.
But I feel like they didn't come up with a new slogan. Now they're just Fanta.
To
Anyway,
be
I'm not
To
judging.
be truthful, I didn't even know they were still a brand. That's
Where
why
did you find these?
That's why I bought them. I think this bodega had them from 1965.
True. In the back.
And they're like, it's hot out. We'll drink anything. It's time to move the Fanta.
I do think there's two types of people in the heat: the ones that want to be scorched by like the seltzer,
Yeah.
or the ones that want to smooth water.
Yeah,
And it's either or.
I know. Well, you don't have to drink them, but
I appreciate
You
it.
should.
I will throughout. The air conditioning just turned off, so I'll be slurping it later.
Who was the cook then in your Italian family? What side was the Italian?
So my mom's side is Sicilian.
That's what we are.
It's
Part of it.
Yeah, her mom is Sicilian and her dad is from Naples.
That's what our combo is.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Are we related?
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
But when they came to Brooklyn, as they do.
Yeah.
I don't know why they all did. And then it was like a thing, like, oh, the guy from Naples likes the girl from Sicily.
Right.
Because, everyone wants to hate each other.
Yeah, it's like West Side Story that no one understands.
Yeah, everyone looks the same.
Yeah, everyone looks the same. They're like, why don't they like each other?
It's so- It's like the Irish Wars. You're like, what? Anyway, so everyone's confused. But they got married, and then
Yeah.
they've just food has always been part of the culture, just eating
Yeah.
and laughing.
So was your mom a good cook?
She's the like healthy version of my Nana. If you want the real shit,
Yeah.
if you want the like there's cocaine in it or something, you go to Nana. Like her eggplant parmesan, there's shit in it that I don't think is legal. Like it tastes too good. And then my mom will be like, well, if you don't want to die of a heart attack, I made this light, mozzarella basil pasta. And I'm like, I don't want this bullshit.
Yeah.
I want to clog my arteries.
Yeah, if we're going all the way.
Yeah, and I also lie to myself that like if it's made with love, like it's not unhealthy.
I think there's truth to that.
How could that be bad for you?
Yeah, because I don't think, well, No, it's probably not right. I was gonna say because my
You're
grandmother.
like, I can't support you.
My grandmother cooked for all of my aunts and uncles who now all have heart problems.
And then also, you're supposed to stop when you're full, which is not okay.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not healthy when they're like, you're not going to finish the pasta. You don't like my pasta. And you're like, no, I'm going to throw up.
And it just keeps coming. One time, my one grandmother wasn't a great cook. She was Italian too, the Naples one.
Oh.
And
was it known she wasn't a good cook?
yeah, she wasn't the great.
Did she know?
And she married my grandfather. That grandfather was German, so they made a lot of like little pot roasts and like little things. And the Italian, it was like she was one of like 200 kids in Jersey City.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the like learning to cook time for her when she was little. It was just like, get this cat off of my bed and 12 people. So anyway, I loved her to death, but she wasn't a great cook. And one time she made tomato sauce and there was something wrong with it. And I was a boy and I was going to get gross. And then I went home and I threw up in the sink in my bathroom. And, the drain for the sink is like the size of a quarter.
Of course.
So I just had that red sauce in there. So whatever I didn't love her cooking to begin with. And then from that point on, every time I walked in the house, I smelled that sauce. I was like, oh no.
It ruined tomato sauce forever for you.
Until I went to the other house.
And she did it right.
Tomato sauce was like,
the sauce. The gravy or whatever they want to call it.
We were sauce people.
I was sauce people too. I would have judged you if you said gravy.
No, I don't like the gravy people.
No, it's not gravy.
It's not gravy. Don't you all realize something? Someone did something wrong in calling it gravy once. It's sauce.
I don't support it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no label in the supermarket of pre-made.
Never heard
tomato product that says.
Well,
Rayo's gravy.
Yeah, if it's Rayo's gravy, then what is gravy then? It can't be both.
Yeah, you're right.
We got to pick a
with
lane.
Chunks,
yeah.
Which was what my grandmother's was.
This has gotten so gross.
It's so disgusting. Oh, I had something disgusting I thought I would ask you.
Oh, yeah.
See how you would have handled this. You seem like you know stuff, but nobody needs to know.
Yeah, actually, valid. I was like, I don't know things, but I do know things that are stupid. I'm the worst in trivia, but like a random thing, I'm like, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had it covered.
I don't know
this
about
might have
wars.
even happened to you.
Oh, God.
Okay, so last night, I'm here in New York. I finished my shows, and I went back to my hotel, and it was like the final show of like a long run. So I'm like, I can get myself a little treat on the way home. This will be nice.
Yeah.
And I saw a chocolate milk made from Silk, the almond people.
Uh-huh.
The almond milk people. They have a chocolate
big
milk.
Almond milk.
Yeah, big almond milk. So I was like, oh, that'll be cool. I'll get the chocolate almond milk. That seems like a Yoo-hoo adjacent thing. Like maybe it's fun. I don't know. So anyway, I bring it back and some Nutter Butters, and I'm in bed eating them and watching a Hitler documentary.
You're wild.
It was a big night. It was a big night.
It's actually a dream night for me.
It was a really big night. I was celebrating. And I didn't realize until this morning that, the chocolate milk tipped over on the end table. And I thought it was just a little on top. And I thought I had cleaned it. This morning when I'm gathering things, I realized, there's a bunch down low. So without thinking, I took the face cloth, the washcloth, and went over and did the chocolate milk. And I was immediately horrified because now I have a washcloth covered in brown something. What is the housekeeper going to think I've done?
Oh, this might be time for a personal note that you have to leave. Because you go two ways. You could either go, look, let her think I was freaky last night, things got crazy. Or I send her a nice, polite, handwritten note where you're like, hello, things went awry with my chocolate milk last night, I swear. But it is funny, you judge, like, what did they think could have possibly happened in this room?
As soon as I did it, I was like, I'm sure these poor people, I'm very conscious of the housekeepers' burden. And I can only imagine there's plenty of washcloths that the housekeeper, someone wipes their ass with it, and then they're putting it into the, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I want to make their life easy. I clean before I leave. I try and I tip. I don't want I'm very conscious of these poor people working their asses
I'm
off.
just laughing if you did leave a post-it that says like, I swear it's just chocolate, smiley face. Is that creepier?
Totally. That's not.
That's like you're trying to trick her or something.
Yeah. And we're assuming she reads my handwriting and English. And it's the note. I don't know.
You could just put it in the garbage.
I tried. Well, then I thought that. But then she's going to be like, why did he throw that out? This is all her never met.
No.
But she's going to judge whatever move I make.
She's going to be disappointed in you regardless.
This animal took a shit in the washcloth and threw it in the garbage like I wasn't going to clean the garbage out also.
It's funny that you mentioned this after the Hitler documentary because I love watching fucked up documentaries at night.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel like your day could have been worse. Like it gives you perspective in life.
Yeah.
So like the fact that you watch the Hitler documentary and you're like, you know what's worse than this? The fact my housekeeper thinks there's a poop stain on this. So I think you need to get your priorities right.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. Crystal night. All right. I get it. I know there was a lot of suffering, but you thought you didn't know what was happening in the world.
Put 100 in it. Just roll it up with $100 bill.
So here's my move.
Okay.
First of all, would you have been in this turmoil if
I'm a messy person in general. I'm a creative, as they say. Like I've once spilled syrup by the bed, and then I just put a paper towel on it, and then it just stayed there for weeks. So like I'm not a domesticated goddess by any means, so I don't judge people.
Right.
I also, when you're in hotels, like it's chaos. Like the fact that I don't leave the bedroom with food. Because no one's eating at the desk facing the wall in a hotel room. That's
with
dark.
The TV, right?
Yeah, with the TV above you. Like you're eating in bed, you're spilling a little, but we're trying our best here.
Yeah.
So I don't judge.
Yeah.
And I would have just stored it like in those deep memories that I don't want to look back at and pretend it didn't happen.
Just walked out, went to the elevator.
Worried about the next thing happening in my life. Move on to the next menial stress that I need to obsess over.
All right, that's good to know. I can't get there.
Sometimes if you come up with another problem, you forget about the previous problem.
Right.
And this is not hard-hitting advice that anyone should follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is what you want to know what I did?
What'd you do?
I first tried to wash it out of the washcloth.
Okay.
Which made it worse.
Yeah, it's smudging.
It's smudging and it's lighter. And now it seems more like it was in someone's ass.
It's giving.
Before it was like, oh, come on.
It's giving douche.
Yeah.
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 So then I took it and wrapped it in the other towels and the bath mat and put the big lump there. So she just had to pick them up and throw them in.
That's smart.
She's not. There's no way she's taking them all apart and like separating them. She's taking that load and throwing it in the bin.
Unless if this is something people do often, she goes, "What's this guy trying to hide?" And that's her thing. She's like, let's get to the bottom of this pile.
Yeah, maybe she's like, I would just do that, but that time I found the $100 bill. I found those AirPods.
I also try to tell myself that like whatever mess up thing happened in my room, there's been like way worse things that they've seen.
100%.
It's like, I don't know if you would agree, but have you ever gotten like a pedicure?
No.
Okay, we'll do it one day. Me and you. You go to get a pedicure, and you're like, oh, I have some hair on my knuckles, and like I haven't shaved, and like I used to play tennis, so my feet are kind of messed up. And you're saying all this stuff, and they're like, don't worry about it. We've seen way worse. And you're like, oh. So I try to tell myself that the world's a big place.
It is a big place.
So like
right.
they've seen dead bodies in hotel rooms.
Really?
I'm whispering
in my hotel room.
In that specific hotel room as possible.
Oh my God.
Because they're not going to tell you.
No, they won't tell you.
Look how dark this pod just got.
I know. That's a big Vegas stat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no like legalese that's like you have to say this room had a dead guy.
I learned it.
Or girl.
Yeah. I learned it, probably guy. I learned it when I was in Vegas in the early part of my career and they were calling. And I just never picked up. I was like, I'm not going to deal with the outside world.
No.
And I just didn't pick up
no.
repeatedly. And then they thought I was checking out.
Oh.
And it was in the early afternoon. And they then came to the door, and it was like 2 people from the hotel and a couple cops, and all just like, and I was like, hey, like, he's alive.
You're like, I'm just slightly depressed.
Yeah. I've just done too many shows. I've been here too long.
That is so true, because I feel like there's some comics who will be like, you ever like leave and like you go from having so many people around you and all this laughter to being like so alone in your hotel room, and I'm like, that's the fucking point. Like
Right.
That's the best part, when the door closes and you're just like, oh, I could bloat, like I can not be funny. I could just
It's so great.
Oh my, I love
Air-conditioned
hotel
room,
rooms.
clean sheets, nobody there.
Oh my gosh.
And you finished early enough where you have a good 3 hours before your other part of your brain says it's time to sleep.
Yeah, you get to watch Beat Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
Like,
Naked and Afraid.
I'm like watching HGTV, like with just judging people's tabletops. I'm like, really, the marble? Are you fucking kidding me? It's probably the most peaceful I ever am, is those 3 hours after the show.
It's heaven.
You're not worried about the next show.
It's heaven.
You know you have a flight coming up, but like, we'll deal with that.
Who cares? Right? That's tomorrow. I literally had that last night. I finished this gig, as I said, and I was like, I called several people, and I was like, I called Ronnie Chang, and I was like, cigar, we've been trying to hook up at Soho Cigar Bar. And he was like, can't tonight. I was like, okay. Dave Hill, Wings at Broome Street, on my way to Ohio. Ryan Hamilton, I'm in Hawaii. I'm like, and this is all as I'm getting closer to the hotel. I'm like, all right, I guess it's just not. And then I checked the lineup at the cellar. I'm like, nah. So then I went to the bodega, got my chocolate milk and my Nutter Butters.
Oh.
And when I walked into that room, I was like, none of those other options would have been as much fun as what I'm feeling right in this moment.
No. My friend and I, we go on tour together, and I feel like people think like going on tour is this glamorous thing, like we party after and stuff. We'll be in the meet and greet ordering Uber Eats. So we've kind of figured it out where we get back to the hotel right when the like McDonald's guy is coming, and then we just in silence eat the French fries, and then we just simmer down. It's really like, I feel like I'm definitely like 150 or like I'm nothing.
Right.
But I feel like some comics are good at like having more of a balance, but I'm like, I'm gonna give you my heart, my soul on stage, and then I have nothing left to give anyone else in my life.
I never understand people who say, musicians too, like when you can't just go back to the room and go to sleep because you're all wound up.
Try me.
You're all wound up. I always say, if there was a mattress on the side of the stage, I could just crawl onto it and sleep as everyone's leaving the theater.
Well, two show nights, which like, they're fucking hard because emotionally it's like running 2 marathons, you know? And then there's always a moment in the green room in between shows where I'm sitting on the couch. I'll lay on the couch. I don't have any couth or anything. So I'll be lying there, my legs up. And you're like, if I just close my eyes, what would happen? But the adrenaline always gets you back. But I do also think like in the day-to-day, you have to like treat yourself a little bit like an athlete. Like you have to hydrate to get sleep in, or I'll be a little cranky monster. I'm like, you like my joke.
Yeah, at my second show the other night, I was like, I should have eaten in between. What did I do? I broke my routine. I should have at least had a protein bar or something.
I know.
I was like, just a couple nuts. I feel good. And in the middle of the set, I was like, I'm going to go home.
Well, I feel like it's comedy culture to kind of be like, we're just so effortlessly hilarious and charismatic. But I'm like, I do need, you know, my little banana, and I want I get Gatorade in my room. Like I'm a fucking athlete. I'm like, I need Gatorade. I need everyone to shut up. So, but we have, everyone has their own stuff, but no one like, I wish like, people would guide us a little more in terms of like, these are the best snacks. Like my writers just like chaos. Yeah. Like of how to be like the best performer. But then there's just so many things that could go wrong that don't matter about the banana. It's like, be funny first and then worry about the banana.
I literally, all I can think about is what I'm going to do as soon as this is over. Like, where am I going to get the treat? Yeah, it's all about the treat.
It's all about the little treat to reward yourself. But it's true, your brain is buzzing, but your body's done.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm not a big drinker on the road, so I'm like, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to eat, while watching cable TV.
When I'm trying to break my habit of, I'm taking the orange because you don't want it.
Thank you.
I like coffee before I go on, but then it wrecks my sleep at the end. So I think I'm going to do Coke.
Some people like Diet Coke. Some people like a Red Bull if they're feeling like bashing their head through a wall. Oh.
Show business used to run on cocaine, and now now I understand why.
What happened?
I think a lot of people died
in hotel rooms,
but they got shit done. And I'll have coffee and be like, this isn't. It's not good enough to really make me feel great on stage.
Yeah.
And it just lags and then screws up my sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, cocaine.
Like the greats were great for a fucking reason. I guess it's just a bunch of sheepish comics left, scared to do the real stuff.
My friend, the great Colin Quinn, told me the other day that because I've been putting feelers out about cocaine, and he said that
this is an ongoing discussion.
The problem with he said when you look at all those guys like in the 80s and stuff, and they were making all these movies, because that's why all the movies started to suffer, because the coke fucked up everybody's timing.
Oh, because they were too quick and frenetic.
Like, you think about they all had like these great first movies, and then everyone's like, "What's the next one?" And like, "Oh, this one's kind of weird." Everyone was on coke,
and if everyone's coke, there's no one to be like, "Let's have a beat."
That was funny. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
I have a random Colin Quinn fact. My dad grew up with Colin Quinn in Park Slope.
No.
And Colin's brother was the best man at my dad's wedding.
No way.
So when I first got into comedy to get respect, I'd be like, yeah, my dad and Colin are like besties, you know?
Really? So did Colin go to the wedding?
So Colin was not at the wedding. I think Colin was, I don't know what he was up to.
It's a real rift.
He's always, yeah. So there's issues with the friendship. It's up and down. But yeah, they just have all the funny stories of like playing basketball. But like Colin was like, he was the funny one. He'd make everyone watch SNL, and they'd go watch him like bomb in Times Square.
Yeah.
So they had all these stories about him. So it's crazy.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, yeah, he just knew me as like I was a tennis player growing up, and so then to be like see him at the Cellar is the craziest thing.
That's so cool.
It's a crazy full circle moment.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's so old. I was walking with him through Soho the other day, and he was pointing out like all of that Spring Street prints. He said this was all as late as the 80s. This was all just Italians out of their apartments sitting outside getting off. He goes, all of these places were just tiny little shitty apartments, and all the Italians were just, now Little Italy is that one street, just Mulberry Street,
just two gelato places.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I know.
No, it's but I love the humor of like the Irish and the Italians that grew up in the tri-state area. Like it's a special I think that's why we bonded.
Yeah, immediately
we sniffed each other out. I was like, is that eggplant parmesan?
Yeah, it's like when my kids would see their cousins that they hadn't seen in like a year, and they were just back immediately.
Yeah.
Last night when I was walking home thinking about the Nutter Butters, before the Nutter Butter, I kind of settled for the Nutter Butters, but I was like, wow, a cannoli would be so perfect right now. There's nowhere to get it unless I went to a restaurant.
Yeah. Do they have decent cannolis in LA?
No.
I'm sorry.
Big problem.
I'm sorry.
Big problem.
You don't deserve that kind of treatment.
Thank you. I'm saying that to everybody. The problem is the shell.
Oh.
The
water?
No,
New Yorkers love blaming the water. They're like, the water's not the same.
Right, exactly.
The water's not the same over there.
I know. And I have this good friend Vito who has Vito's Pizza.
Oh, he sounds great.
Largo. He's from New Jersey. He's just a meatball, and he makes the greatest pizza, regular pizza. And he's like, it's not the water. You just have to know what you're doing. Yeah,
I blame the water for everything.
But the egg rolls invariably, I think, because maybe somebody supplies all of them. They're like egg roll consistency.
Oh,
it's like instead of the cannoli shell, it's this egg roll kind of light. It's not right.
So it's healthy.
Probably.
It's vegan.
Yeah, probably.
This is the thing about LA. There will be vegan places that don't say they're vegan, and that's a problem.
They do?
I've definitely gone to get breakfast before, and I order the eggs, and I'm like, that's not. And no one's saying anything. No one's acknowledging it because it's just like this is normal. Where I'm like, oh, this is my I'll flip a table.
Are you vegan?
No. I joke. I mean, I understand the, behind it, but I do feel like my Italian ancestors would roll in their graves if they're like, you're not eating the veal man and goat?
When I brought my now wife home for the first time and she was vegan or vegetarian, it was like I stabbed my mother in the heart. You're not going to have the sauce? You're not going to... What? And
then the second she starts asking questions like, oh, is there this and this? You're like, oh, no.
I was like, oh, my... Yeah. I was like, oh, this is going to end.
You don't ask her what's in it. She doesn't even know what's in it.
And then God bless her, my mother was like, I'll just skim the sauce.
The curdles.
I won't put the meat in it. I'll just get the tomato sauce without the meat. It's been cooking for hours in pork and ground beef. I'll just skim the top and that'll... And then she was like, I can't eat that. Oh. Not only is she a vegan, she's a pain in the ass.
How did their relationship overcome that?
Well, when we met, I had quit meat for a...
Oh, so you were going through a stage.
I was going through a stage. And she says I married her under false pretenses because she thought she was getting someone who didn't eat that stuff. And then... two things really broke me. The first was I went to Yankee Stadium and I was like,
you need a foot long.
I have to get a hot dog. I don't know what the rules are.
I love how hot dog's like the grossest meat
The most disgusting fingernails.
It doesn't. It tastes great though. I don't believe that there's like rat buttholes in it.
I don't know, and if there are, they should be selling rat buttholes on their own because it's pretty damn
I'll
good.
snort it.
It's so good. So that broke
So that
me.
broke you because you were supporting a team.
I was like an alcoholic who had a drink and didn't.
Yeah.
Was filled with shame and didn't say anything for a while.
Oh, because of the one hot dog.
I was probably 2, but I was like, I can't believe.
Yeah, because you actually can't. You can't just have one hot dog.
I ate it so fast.
Yeah.
So like the way an alcoholic would just be like, after 15 years, I was just like, bloomp. It was gone. And then walking into Italian delis with the provolone and the pepperoni and all the stuff hanging the prosciutto, and I was just like, I can't swear this off.
Did you stop eating meat because you liked her?
No, it was
Okay.
right before I met her.
Okay, so it wasn't really a scam.
It was not a scam at all.
Yeah.
I was really feeling it. It was one night, and the next morning, I had buffalo wings, and I was eating the wing, and it broke in my mouth. The bone broke, and the vein was still connecting the two sides, but the bone was splintering.
So you were stabbed.
Like,
you were assaulted.
I was like, what?
I've been shot.
And then I was living on the Upper East Side, and then I walked up on like 3rd, and outside of a Chinese restaurant on a hot day like today, there was stacks of boxes of chicken that had been unloaded from the truck and hadn't been put into the restaurant yet. And they're just sitting on the sidewalk, bleeding through the cardboard onto
The universe was sending you signs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I'm going to not do this for a while.
I feel like everyone has that moment where the chicken tastes too much like chicken.
Yeah, like feathers and stuff.
Yeah, it just hits you. It's like, that's the chicken is chickening.
Yeah.
Like when you hit a weird, like, I don't know what it is in the chicken and you remember it's a chicken.
Yeah.
It's another thing, like, just like with the towel. Like I try to just, I'd put it away. I'd pretend it didn't happen.
Did you ever stop eating meat for a beat?
Never.
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 Proud of you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like I could see myself if someone really persuaded me and tried. Like I'm the kind of person, like I'll join a cult. Like if you give me enough reasons, like I'll give it a try.
Whoever talks to you last.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want everyone to like me, so I'm like, that sounds good. I'm down. It's funny because I actually dated in college. I dated this guy. No, not college. High school. I dated this guy from Queens who was Muslim, and he was very like hid me from his parents. They're like, they can't find out that I'm like with this white girl. It was kind of naughty. And then I remember finally he introduced me to his mom, and he was so nervous. We sat down, and she like gave me some curry. And one thing about me is I can eat. That's why I said yes to this podcast. I said, this is right for me. And I like scarfed down this curry. And I'm like, this is the best thing ever. She loved me. Like, she just was like, oh, the white girl who like loves eating curry.
Yeah.
And I was like, this food's amazing. Because it was so good and so authentic. And then he was like, why was I worried for no reason she was going to hate you? Even though I am, against his entire culture or whatever they were afraid of. So food does bring people together is the moral of the story.
100%. And that's why it took years for my parents to fall in love with my wife.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did they overcome that dark experience?
She was just charming. And then we just, and she wasn't the only outlier. Like there
had to be someone worse.
There were some other people, my sister's friends were like hippies. And but it was kind of just starting. Like it really is remarkable how being a vegan now is so much easier than when we started dating in like 98. And even in that time, I mean, it's not that short, but in that time, like there was no options. There was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's so commonplace that my wife is not seen as a pain. Like compared to my like nephew who like she was never as bad.
So they got perspective on it. I think it's so funny when you go to restaurants and they do the whole like, does anyone have an allergy here? And you're like, no, we're good. And then they come back and they're like, are you sure? And then I always get worried, like, how many people have died because of like sesame oil in this restaurant? Like the way they say it is like life and death. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get a sandwich.
I always feel like that because we have so many things like between my daughters and my wife. And there's always like, well, I don't eat this or I don't eat that. And then they ask the allergy thing. I'm like, no, we're good. We're a pain in the ass, but nothing's going to bring us down. This is just purely, we're a pain in the ass by choice.
That is so funny. Yeah, because sometimes people will ask for things not to be on it. It's like, is this actually because we're going to have to go to the hospital or because you're a little bit picky today?
Right, exactly.
Wait, so you're a girl dad?
Yeah, twice. 2 girls.
Do you feel like it's made you a better person?
No, I was pretty great before. It's kind of, of course they're a blessing, but that's my New Year's resolution, by the way. I'm trying not to say as much. Because if you don't do it, then you have to sit in silence and think. I realized I was great because when they came around and like started going through stuff in high school and dating and stuff like that, it wasn't like I had to wrestle down the douchiness in me to do the right thing by them. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to get in the way of them with boys or like any of that stuff. I did not have that. I also had 2 sisters, though. I grew up with 2 sisters.
So you were trained.
I was trained.
You were ready.
It wasn't like like my friends that just grew up with brothers.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a woman enters their life.
They see a tampon for the first time and their brain explodes.
Yeah, it's completely foreign. So I definitely had good training.
I think it's great to like for guys to see life from the perspective of their daughters. Like, because my dad and my grandpa, like I come from a sports family, like coaches and stuff. Yeah. And I was the one that was really into sports, not my brother. Right. And my dad treated it just like I was his son. Like he's like, okay, we're going in. I'm yelling at you. I'm screaming at you. But he got to see how like we'd show up to like a tennis court and I was the only girl and he'd see how the guys would treat me a little differently. And he never, so you get to see different perspectives.
100%.
But then you also have your dad who's like behind you supporting you, which is cool.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, there's been a lot of... There's been a ton of watching, like from that perspective of watching them go through stuff. They're pretty amazing. I think that I realized like this is so much better than if I had boys at a certain point. I was like, this is so much like we could just hang out. We could talk. They're just painting.
Yeah, they say girls in the beginning are easier and then they're harder later. Because the boys, for some reason, the boys, they're chucking themselves around. They love to break shit, like each other, like everything's breaking.
Constant. Yeah.
My husband, he's one of 3, and like the amount of stories of broken bones where like girls will be like, we're gonna doodle. We're going to doodle in the corner. We're going to play dress up for 9 hours. And we're just going to sing a song.
Yeah.
Where boys are like, let's flip this fucking table.
Here's one that you'll have good perspective on. My daughter was saying last night that someone from her past blocked her or took her, I guess, unfollowed her. Unfollowed her on Instagram. And I said, so what? You know, she hasn't seen her in forever, like 10 years. She's not that old. 10 years is quite a large amount of time. So she says that she's noticed that she's been unfollowed by this person, and she was distraught. And I said, well, why don't you just text this person and say, hi, when's the last time you did that? Like person to person. Both daughters turned on me like I was a guy that worked in a coal mine and didn't know how the world worked because I'd been in there for so long. They're like, no, she unfollowed, which means she doesn't want to talk to her. I'm like, well, that's a sick way to live. How about you just person to person, you say, hey, what's up? Like, are we, or don't even address it, just say hi and just talk. Like, why are you you're both creating stories in your
narrative.
Mind, a narrative of this breakup or what this person's thinking. You haven't seen her in 10 years. How about a text and say, I'm coming to your town this summer.
Or why'd you unfollow me, bitch? But it's funny.
Am I totally off base?
I feel like unfollowing it's the ultimate fuck you, because it's basically like, I don't want to see your life. I don't care about your life. Sometimes it could be like an ex being like, I just can't see you. Or a friend who's like jealous. That's like, I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, because this is the thing. If you don't want to see someone on your feed, but you don't want to hurt their feelings, you mute them like a normal person.
Right, exactly.
Because you still like them. You just maybe don't like their, newborn baby content.
Yeah, the content's driving you nuts.
You're running a marathon. It's been 10 years. Go to therapy. Like, I don't like these marathons. So it's not personal, but her also the fact that she can see that the person unfollowed her. I would argue.
Yeah.
I don't there's apps where you could see who unfollows you. I don't want to hurt my own feelings.
If you don't have the app, you can't see it?
You can't see it unless you like specifically go to someone to be like, are they following me?
Right.
And then the final thing is, I would ask her, does she even like that girl? Like, do you just feel hurt because she unfollowed you?
Yeah.
Or like, do you even want her to follow you?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you haven't reached out to this person, why should she be following you?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like,
yeah.
You obviously.
It's like when you get mad when you're dating, someone rejects you, and it's like, you don't even like them.
Right. How dare you?
You like them because you thought they liked you. Right. When you never stopped to be like, do you actually like that person?
You're just pissed off that they got to you first.
How old is she?
19.
Yeah, it's an age where you're also like trying to figure out where you fit in and like accepting yourself. So it's like extra sensitive. Like when you're in your 30s or older, you're just like, well, that's all I got. Yeah. When you're 19, you're like, I'm trying really fucking hard. And people are fucking rejecting me left and right. I mean, 19 sucked. I hated 19, early 20s. Oh, I hated that.
I know. My daughter asked me, because my other daughter is 22. And she just graduated and stuff. And she was asking, like, so what did you do, like, those, like, 3 years after? And I really was like, I'm not sure. And I realized I was so confused and upside down and inside out that I don't even track it as a part of the journey. I was just like, and then there was that screwed up period where I got a weird tattoo and gained 30 pounds. And now I'm back. And then I started comedy. You know what I mean?
No, it's so true. But then people make it like your early 20s are like the best time. So you feel this weird pressure where you're like, I'm my hottest right now. I'm like physically my strongest. But it's like your brain's still not fully formed. Right. You go out of college and they're like, okay, now you need to know exactly what you want to do for a living, even though you've never done anything. Right. So you have no like past experience to make any educated decisions. Yeah. So like it's chaos, and I just want to normalize, like, for the girls and the guys, just make a ton of mistakes.
Yeah. Just go. Just keep moving.
Yeah, I was doing cold calling sales out of college.
Yeah, really?
My dad was like, if you want to be successful, you got to be able to do cold calling sales. I'm like, okay, Dad. And I was like, I can't do this the rest of my life.
You're not my coach anymore.
No, literally. I was so miserable. I was like, why am I hiding in the bathroom? So yeah, you don't
it's
know.
a weird period for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then the 22-year-old was like backing up the 19-year-old. That like I said, that I was completely off base. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, you're not going to text her. She unfollowed her because she's moving on and thinks she's all that. And I was like, wait, you guys, this is like making a story up about someone you saw across from you on the subway. You know nothing.
But
about
it's like a new language, the unfollowing. Like unfollowing says a lot.
I get it.
It's like if you write okay period,
Right.
they take it as like Dad is being short with me.
Really pissed off.
Where you're like, don't think about it. I said okay. Unfollowing means like you're fucking out of my life, bitch. So it's just different forms of communication.
Yeah.
But I love being the in-between communicator.
Yeah, exactly. I really was thinking about you this morning. I'm like, I know who's going to have an answer.
Wait, so they listen to Giggly Squad?
What's
Do
that?
they listen to Giggly Squad?
Yeah, my older one does.
So funny.
Yeah.
Did you want to have kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to have kids. And then I went through a period. I was
Regretting it.
yeah. It's actually last week where I was like, or last night when they were giving me shit that I don't know about social media. I was like, you know what? I'm just.
You
gonna
have a
stay in
big
New
following
York.
on social media. You're like, I'm fucking famous. Okay.
I'm gonna. Yeah, maybe you wouldn't notice if you had more followers.
Oh my
How about
god.
you work on your brand.
You're like, can we post more reels?
I mean, if people did unfollow me, I doubt I'd notice.
That would have been savage. Getting sassy.
Yeah, you really have to check yourself.
Yeah.
They can make you. What's really funny is when they're really little, they have there's no real manipulation going on in their little brains.
Well, I
Just
feel like
acting
girls
shitty.
sometimes they can.
A little, but it's like even if they just don't do something, like an example, like we order room service and then they don't eat it. And, that's not a move.
No.
They just don't want to eat it. And they're probably right because it's like some weird fancy
Yeah.
oatmeal that they never saw before. And they're like, ew. And sometimes it just hits you as a parent. You're like, oh, fine. I guess we just spent $50 on oatmeal and you're not going to eat it. Okay, great. Like you get petulant. You get like, nah, 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 nah. And then after, like later on in the day, you're like, what?
And then like 10 years later,
from?
they're like, I've never been able to eat oatmeal in therapy because my dad would always snap. You don't know what they're going to remember.
Yeah.
I was asking you because, I'm 32 now. My husband's also a comic.
Right.
And we're
Des.
He says hello, by the way.
Yes, I like Des.
And
Very funny.
we're warming up to that moment where it's like, should we have kids? Should we not have kids? And I've been joking that some women will complain, like, after you get married, everyone's like, when are you going to have a baby? No one asked me. I don't know why. No one maybe because I'm on the road all the time. Maybe they think I'm not capable. It started annoying me. I'm like, no one's going to say my clock is ticking.
You assume I don't have a clock?
Yeah, my clock's fine. My clock's normal. But it's funny because he's like, there's a life hack where like, you actually don't have to have kids. And then he's like, or you can, and it ruins your life, but like, enhances your life. Like a lot of parents give me mixed messages.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, it's the happiest you'll ever be, but you'll never be happy again. Like you get all these riddles.
Yeah.
So like
riddles.
And then some comics will be like, oh, the content you'll get after having kids.
Oh,
like
God.
that's your next hour. And I'm like, but is that why you should do it?
Yeah. I mean, just on the content side, it's like my whole career has been trying not to let them devour my act.
Yeah.
Family life. And they won. All my
Yeah.
stuff is about family.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
I think I probably will.
Yeah.
But obviously it's harder with like, just I'm at this point in my career where I'm starting to get momentum to like then have a baby is like annoying. So we'll figure it out. We'll see.
You just got to look for examples of people who did it around that same time and made it work.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of comics who like waited to get more traction, or then you could pull, an Ali Wong.
Yeah.
and wait for a special with a belly,
Right.
and
yeah.
hope it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, no, hope it's great. And then you make enough money right off that special that
Yeah.
you have 15 nannies.
But nowadays, yeah, I know Whitney coming right now.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel like everything's virtual. Like you could do so many things with a kid. But yeah,
It's a balance for sure. It's definitely more exhausting.
yeah,
You need, like, when you talk about like conserving your energy and being an athlete, it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much. There were times I'd be at the Laugh Factory, just like sitting on the steps, like, you guys don't, you guys, I should be graded on a curve. This is ridiculous. I've been up since 5. Since 5.
No, and I like to sleep till like 10.
Yeah, that's gone. That's so gone.
And my husband likes to wake up early though.
Oh, that's good.
So I was like, maybe you take the
Maybe
early
he
shift.
could breastfeed.
Yeah. Or at least put the kid up to my breast while I'm passed out.
Right. I don't think you have to be awake for milk to come out.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know,
I don't
but I
think
don't think
so.
so. And then I stay up late at night, so I'm like, it kind of works.
It's a weird. Yeah. So anyway, I was in this kind of confused state of like, I'm not sure if it'll ever happen. But then when I met my wife, I immediately was like,
Yeah.
oh no, we're gonna get married and have children.
Yeah.
And here's a funny story. I said that to her on like one of the our 4th date on St. Patrick's Day in a bar. I was like, you're totally having my baby.
With green beer just dribbling down.
She was like, what? I don't even know if we're gonna make it to the end of the month. And I was like, you know we're having kids. And she went back to my apartment and threw up.
I love that. I feel like men are so extreme. Like they're either like not into it or they're like, you are my wife and we're gonna have a huge family.
There is a primal. There's definitely a primal instinct in all of it.
Yeah.
There's like when we would talk about it, it was like my whole body was like, now we can do it now.
It's crazy, but it's funny because Dez is older,
right? And
I joke, I like an older man because they are tired. He gives him some Advil, he's fine. He's so like he in his 30s was probably so much harder to deal with. We barely even fight because he's 47.
Okay,
so. But he said in his 30s he wanted kids so bad, but it just never happened. And now because he's later in life, and I was like, look at Robert De Niro. Like, he had kids. So I have more of the, like, hormonal, we could do it. And then he's like, if you just get past this hormonal stage, we could just, like, vacation whenever. And it's this interesting, like, dichotomy. But I think someone said that, actually this hilarious comic, Steve... What's his last name? Damn it, I'll remember it later. He said kids are like farts, or like they're kind of gross, but then you like the smell of your own. So I'm like, yeah, you think kids are annoying, but I feel like your own kid he's gonna be obsessed with. So we're just navigating that.
Yeah, it really, there's very little planning. It kind of just happens.
Yeah,
your instincts will take over. This is where we came down on it, actually. It was because I was just like, yeah, all systems go. And she was like, I don't really know. She was a comedian.
Oh, wow.
And an actress. And she wasn't really sold on the idea as I was in that bar. But we literally, as creative people, were like, you're on this planet. As a creative person, you kind of are sensitive to all of the experiences that you can have as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we pass up the greatest experience?
Yeah.
Not joyful or whatever, but just like the most impactful. Like, okay, so if we're all here to do whatever, see sunsets and drink Fanta, this one seems like it's a big one.
Yeah.
And that we were like, all right. And then, you're in love. So that kind of like
Tricks
you in
you.
the spot. Yeah, tricks you.
Tricks you.
Yeah.
No, but that's definitely true. I think sometimes like when you're with someone who's like seen and lived a lot of life, he'll have more different perspectives. Like, you know, I've done it this long and it's been pretty good and like it works out. And I'm like, and I have the like younger brain that's like, but next we have a family. That's what comes next.
Yeah, exactly.
And like
Christmas will be so much more fun again. We can play with bubbles. We could go to Disney and not seem creepy. I like lollipops. Don't you like lollipops?
I love chicken nuggets.
Go for ice cream.
I will have so much chicken nuggets in the house.
Yeah.
The dinosaur ones. Because that's creepy if I just, I'm like, you know what we should do tonight? Dinosaur chicken, dinos.
Yeah, by yourself.
Flintstone gummies. I love Flintstone gummies.
Flintstone gummies.
Yeah.
Candy. Just stopping into a candy shop.
Yeah.
We used to have a candy shop in LA. We didn't have a candy shop. We had a liquor store that had a candy section under the register.
That's honestly genius.
And we would get on our bicycles, like the girls and I, and we'd be like, let's go to the candy shop. And we go, and there's like people outside, you know, needles in their arm. We're like getting our candy. But it makes you silly. It's like there's that really, it's a really good part of it.
Yeah, and I do think creatively, like to see life through kids' eyes is fun because you get so jaded as an adult.
Yeah.
And then you probably get some flashbacks of like when you were little and having those fun moments.
Yeah. Are your folks still around?
Yes, but his are
gone.
which is good for the marriage.
Yeah, the holidays.
Yeah, no issue in the holidays.
That's good.
He says he's an orphan. I'm like, you're 47. You're not Annie. You're an adult.
It's a hard knock life, Cortez.
But it's funny because my mom has both her parents. And Des is just there, you know, fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have both my parents still around. So I want my mom to take care of the kid probably.
Oh, and
I'm traveling.
They
yeah.
would. Are they around here?
They're around. They're in Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Set up.
We figured it out.
Yeah. Seems like all systems go.
Des actually was like, you got to ask him about family because, you know, he knows a lot about family.
Did he?
He's like, he's the only comedian that really has a good family. I was like, okay, I'll see what I could do.
Yeah, well, then I say you should do it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. I'll blame you if anything
figure it
happens.
out.
Yeah.
All the stuff, things get better.
And I also like chaos.
Chaos is good.
Stillness makes me very uncomfortable. I don't want to. I don't want
to. The way you describe Des, there's a lot of stillness.
Yeah. Not a lot of movement. Barely a heartbeat at times. In the morning, I'm like, is he going to wake up?
This is one of those times where
is today the day?
he come back with his coffee and he still doesn't sleep. Well, good for him.
I'm letting him sleep in for the week.
Wow, he's really.
But he goes, I'm fucking tired. I'm tired. I'm like, I feel like something will come over you and you'll wake up for the kid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he'll be exhausted, but he's exhausted already.
Yes.
It's all right.
Yeah.
He'll be exhausted in a different way.
Yeah.
Someone who's hilarious.
I like it too because you can make excuses. Like, I can't do this because my kids.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Where now it's like, Hannah.
Yeah.
You have one cat.
Well, let me play the other side of it, though. The one thing I didn't, that was kind of a surprise, is like I thought, well, I'm kind of selfish, but I'm not that selfish. Then I had kids, and I was like, oh, I'm selfish. I can't even read I'll still be able to read the paper in the morning. I'll still be able to, no, like that amount of time. It's like, no.
And comics were so self-centered. Like, we're always like, how do I feel about this? And would this sound good when I do this?
Yeah.
So it's like considering someone else.
I mean, that kind of is good, back and forth. But that part is kind of good, too. It's like, all right, you know what? How about I stop thinking about me for a second?
Oh,
and there's definitely a lot of comedians
I would love, who could use that?
who didn't do it and are like older now and still obsessed with it. And it's not that good of a...
Yeah, they're getting like spray tans and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like they're always going to a lot of doctors. They're getting a lot of things checked.
Oh yeah, they're doing like PCP and stuff.
And when you have kids, you could have like a thing growing off your neck. You're like, there's no time. I'll just wear a turtleneck. There's
That
no
is
time.
so true. No, you're not meant to be able to analyze yourself
No.
too often because
No.
like that's nothing good comes of it ever.
Mm-mm.
Even though our job requires it, we need a balance.
Yeah, and there's nothing. Yeah. Look at the picture over your shoulder, by the way.
Oh.
Like two
What if
people
our
with little children.
What if our kids are like the most annoying, sarcastic assholes ever? I don't mind that. I think mean kids are funny. Like if my kid was an asshole, I'd be like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, especially if they're mean to people you don't like.
100%.
Oh, that was the bigger point, though. The schedule.
Mm.
Like when they were really little, we were living in New York.
Okay.
Then we went to L.A. For like 3 months, and then we came back to New York, and then all of a sudden we were bi-coastal because we had gigs in both places, and we were just having fun, and then going on vacations in between, and doing the whole thing, and then school starts, and you're like, oh shit, they have a schedule now. They have to be in town from mid-August.
Oh, you have to go
Christmas.
to school next week?
Yeah. I remember just being like, no.
Who does school think they are?
We 2 weeks for Christmas? How about a month and a half? No, we're not going back.
Oh my! I
Well,
know.
then they're gonna get kicked out. Will that make you happy? Maybe.
And then you don't want to fucking homeschool because then
Then they're weird.
they're weird.
Then they're really
They're
weird.
weird.
They
Then-
smell like old sweaters.
Yeah, they use like different words that just adults use.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a little too earnest when they talk to adults.
Yeah, they keep the eye contact for like 5 minutes too long.
Yeah.
You're like, you could look
Call
away
all your
now.
friends by their first name. How was your surgery, Carol?
How was the bypass?
Well, people are recovering from that a lot quicker these days.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
I'll tell Des.
Just patting her hand.
Yeah. I've seen this happen.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, and a big part of it is that you said that you're Italian, and it's like, you're built for family.
Yes.
You're definitely built
I'm
for it.
built for it. I always joke, like, whenever I thought I might be pregnant, I'm like, I'm a 29-year-old teenager. Like, can my mom take care of the baby? And I'm like, you're fucking 29. And I'm at that age where, like, I can't really get an abortion because I'm, like, 32 and married. So I'm like, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah. Are you friends with Rachel?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a good example.
Yes.
She's doesn't really have a handle on the world.
Mm-hmm.
She lives in chaos,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a great comic,
Mm-hmm.
and she's having a blast.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's nice that her husband has, I don't know how much structure a fireman has,
A lot.
but he has, where like, yeah, Des and I would have to figure out that balance of
Right.
like, but yeah, we'd have to have a balance of like, okay, I'm traveling a bit, you stay home.
We're gonna have to have a talk.
He's gonna have to become a fireman.
Des, you can be the funniest guy in the firehouse.
Well, he's Irish from New York. Like they'll just let him in. They won't
Totally.
even ask for an ID.
Just tell him you'll cook. Just show up and start cooking.
Like, what's going on in here? What's up, guys?
This guy's hilarious.
Yeah. And then Rosebud's popping him out.
Right?
Yeah,
Another one?
I think just one.
It sounds like you know something you're not supposed to say on the podcast.
Can we just dropping crazy tea
Yeah.
on the top of the pod? She just exposes it. She unfollows me. She's like, "How could you do that to me?" No, I don't think.
I'm like, just
she's
text her.
pregnant. I don't think she's pregnant.
So am I ultimately wrong? I shouldn't.
I think that they have their own teenage language.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think what like
Yeah.
middle-aged man equivalent would be to someone unfollowing.
They would ghost you.
There goes.
I do have an adult friend. I have one adult friend. It's never happened to me in my life. I do have one adult friend. I won't say who it is.
Uh-huh.
Who, ghosted me. Like, I can't text, and
Blocked you.
I don't know if I'm blocked,
Mhm.
but not responding and not picking up the phone, and it's been over a year now.
Are they alive?
They're alive. You know them.
Oh.
But just completely. I have ideas. Like, I've never had a grown up friendship breakup
That's insane.
in my life.
Or like that's
It's
insane.
so weird.
It's
because I'm going to see them again.
Yeah, well, especially the comedy world.
Yeah.
No. Well, sometimes these comics, I remember Des was messaging someone and they just stopped responding to him. And he was like thinking of all the things he could have possibly said that might have like ticked them off.
You're like, what could it
especially with
possibly have
comics,
been?
like we're so mean to each other. He's like, where did I go too far? And then we find out like months later, the guy was like, oh, I had someone take over my social media. I don't check my messages. Where like he thought this guy was like furious with him for like 6 months. He was like, he hates me. He was like, did I say something about the vaccine? Like, was there a political joke?
That's what I've been going.
Yeah,
through.
you're
The
like,
same
what?
thing. I'm like,
things are sensitive. You're like, was it BLM?
Did he not know I was kidding?
Did I tweet? Yeah, you just never know.
Nothing. I never say anything hateful about people.
Yeah.
But you're a comic. How could you possibly think it wasn't a joke?
I definitely have people also have like beefs with me that I was not involved in.
Yeah.
And then they like got over it and were like, we're cool now. And I'm like, I was not consenting in any of this fight. I didn't even know that was a thing. But I mean, comics miscommunicating sounds pretty standard.
Like I could see someone on the periphery not liking you and muting you or whatever.
Which is normal. Honestly, healthy.
Yeah, definitely. There's people I love who their social media is so intense. I was like, I can't.
Are you going to approach this person and be like, we good, bro?
I would if they'd pick up. I was like, I think that's how I was using the advice I gave to my daughter. I was like, just text them, just say hello.
They get a restraining order against you?
Human to human. They're like, that's not how it works. I'm like, well, what a sad world you live in. But that's what's going on with me. They won't pick up.
Well, you know what? Sometimes people leave your life for a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. I'm going to unfollow him as soon as it's done.
Wait, so you can actually bond with your daughter about this. You're both experiencing a similar debacle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to bring it up again because they've dug their heels in, both daughters, and they're like, this is the way it is, old man.
Yeah.
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 All right, one last subject before we go. We
Okay.
got to get out of here because we had to turn the air conditioner off.
It's a sauna.
Through my shirt.
It's a sauna.
You still look great. You look like you're not sweating. The
just
whole time I'm
glowing.
like, how is she not dying right now?
No, it's all like on the chair. I'm like swooshing around.
I went for a run this morning.
Oh, okay, humble brag.
Because I've been eating Nutter Butters and going crazy. And I was like, I got to at least work out once while I'm here. So I got up earlier because it's hot.
Yeah.
And I went for a run down on the water.
Wow.
There is an intensity to people working out.
Is this West Side Highway
in
culture?
New York, West Side Highway culture.
That's like a whole dating app.
Is it really?
West Side Highway running.
Is it really?
Yeah, and people are judging you by your technique, what college you're wearing on your shirt. Did you go to Harvard? It's craziness there. I stay away. I'm scared.
It's so funny. I literally was like, when I run in LA, I live like in a suburban part of LA. Mm-hmm. So there's like maybe one other person you'd see like running, like at that like it's no.
Yeah.
And you get out into that human river.
The salmon in a stream.
People, guys with no shirt on, sprinting.
Spitting.
Spitting.
Well, I actually was like, why do guys have to hawk so many loogies in the sun? Because I never see,
get it.
why do girls, we don't have to do it ever, and they're doing it like 10 times a day in your lane.
Here's the truth. They don't have to either.
Okay, so it's like a big dick
it.
thing?
It's a big dick thing.
Okay, it's like revving your engine?
Yes, it's the loud car blasting through the city.
Mucus out of your mouth. Oh.
It's the guy with no shirt on in a yoga class.
Yeah.
You don't have to put your shirt on.
Who can't touch his toes?
This isn't your place. This isn't your space. This is their space. You're a visitor. Get in the back corner with your shirt on.
No, the West Side Highway, that was intense because New York, it has like competitiveness. Everyone's like, I have a meeting, a Zoom in 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, do I pass them? Do I not pass them?
I thought leaving the hotel like, oh, this is so peaceful. I'm just going to be the only guy out there because I'm the only one who's thinking, let's run before it gets hot. And people out there like, just like you're saying, like, I got a meeting at 12 and we got to get back.
You couldn't even like merge in.
I was like frightened. I was like, this girl's going to run me off into the bike lane.
That's the thing with New York. Like, there's so many beautiful things that just get ruined by people.
100%.
Like if there was an apocalypse, how fucking beautiful would that run have been?
Yes, there would be no problem. I was just talking to my friend downstairs, and she went to the beach on Far Rockaway on Monday and got there early, and it was delightful. Saw dolphins, and then by 12, the beach was filled with people
Yep.
who were just like chugging beers,
Talking
and playing
loogies.
music, and and just it was just ruined by people.
Yep.
So many people.
And New Yorkers love like waiting in lines. Like they don't even know what it's for. If there's a line, they're like, "This must be fucking good," and they'll wait in it.
There was a line yesterday through Soho. It went like from Houston, like down to Prince, over to West Broadway.
Yeah.
For a coffee shop. Like it was
That like went viral on TikTok or something.
And
probably half of them didn't even know what it was, and they were like, "There's gonna be something good at the end of this."
Right, exactly. I almost got in it.
you know, I don't know about comedy clubs, but actual like party clubs do that thing where they will not let people in for a while to create the line.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's always happening. I feel like in New York,
Always.
where if I see a line, I'm fucking old. I'm like, I'm not waiting in a fucking line.
I know.
I'd rather starve to death than wait for a line at a bodega or something.
I caught my daughters talking to each other, and they said, "Oh yeah, just so you know, Dad doesn't stand in lines anymore."
You go VIP coming through.
And I'm like, "That's right. I'm not standing in a line."
Wait, you know what you should do?
do?
You should unfollow one of your daughters just for fun.
That would be hilarious. And see if she knows.
See if she knows.
That's so funny. I'm totally
Or next time you get in a fight, unfollow her.
That's so great. I'm gonna unfollow both of them.
They'll probably be like, "Thank God, now we can post whatever we want."
Right, exactly. Yeah, by the way, they've blocked so many of the elders in the family when they commented about them having no shirt on.
Yeah.
In a post. Well, this was amazing.
Oh my God, this was so much fun.
much fun.
Thank you for the bread and the Fanta.
What can we plug? Let's plug your podcast.
Oh yeah, I have my podcast, Giggly Squad, and Des and I have a pod called Berner Phone.
Nice.
Where people call in.
Very
and then my Netflix special,
What's the date?
July 9th.
Wow.
My first special.
So exciting.
It's called We Ride at Dawn.
Nice. It's a good one.
So it's all happening.
That's so great.
Thank you.
Very exciting. So you'll probably come on my Netflix show
I would love
with
that.
Fortune.
Oh, I love Fortune.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll be
Maybe one of
booked
these days.
to talk about it when it comes out for sure, which is like in a week.
It's coming soon.
Oh, great. So I'll see you
In a
soon.
bit. I'll still see you later.
All right. You'll probably be pregnant. Okay. We got it.